I think initially, I'm new to the landscape of being a public figure. I don't consider myself to be a celebrity, but a public figure, absolutely. So I think I could have used a little PR training in learning how to navigate the space with the media because I was going into interviews thinking a little naively, like, oh, they just want to hear my story. They want to know about tribe therapy. They want to know about my wellness journey. You sit down and you do an hour-long interview with someone, and the headline is maybe a one sentence that you said of like, yeah, I was heartbroken and devastated because I went through a breakup. And that's the headline, like, so and so's ex is devastated still and she's sad and she's depressed. It's like, damn, girl, did you listen to anything I literally, that's
She
crazy.
barely was able to do this interview.
Yeah, I am confused. But I think too, like you said, I am human, and I take it with a grain of salt now. One day they're gonna have to stop calling me somebody's ex. I don't know if that means I have to date someone else publicly. I don't know what it's gonna
Oh,
take.
that's so good. That's
Yeah,
so
like
good.
I eventually they're gonna have to just let it go. They're gonna have to. Until then, I'm gonna ride this off into the sunset because I can't control it. That's the thing too. It's like releasing control of people that I have no control over. The media is going to do what the media does, which is clickbait, which is headlines, which is make big block letter storylines that have nothing to do with who I am as a person. And it's really just not my job to stress about it. I also think too, to your point, like people will always say like get over it, which is so interesting. And to them I say, you too.
Yes.
I want y'all to report on me and the things that I'm doing and not have any correlation or connection to someone in the past. Because really and truly, like at the end of the day, if I choose to share my story, it's because I'm sharing it because I think that someone needs to hear it. I think that there's a life out there. There's a woman out there who feels like what she's going through is this singular experience. And so if I can make her feel like she's seen and understood, and if I can make it out of something like this, so should she. That's what my job here is to do. Like, other than that, I don't care. I simply don't.
Few moments later.
I relished every time I get to do one of these Chronicle of Chris Brown videos and shit. I've done a couple in the past, mostly addressing the fact that, while our particular ethnic group, our supposed ethnic group, lies at the bottom of the economic barrel, you'll find the women in there, no matter what their walk of life, ready and willing to do anything to pony up, tickets to go see Chris Brown and shit, ready and willing, because the ticket thing, they do that for anything. They'll just come up with oodles of cash for the most, disposable reasons instead of, putting that shit away for a rainy day. That's why what's theirs is theirs and what's yours is theirs and shit. But mostly I always talk about the Chris Brown shit when they pay for that. When he does the meet and greets and he charges $1,000 per woman to come and meet him for a few minutes and take a picture with him and shit. You see various pictures of women, select and mostly non-select, the big and tall variety of the big and wide as a fucking barn, just fucked off women and shit. Women that lost, fucking off their money and shit. Money they could be spending on their children and, putting away for a rainy day, developing themselves in some meaningful way, or investing that shit into some kind of IRA account or something to bank, or buying digital currency and shit. They can't pony up money to get out of this fucking situation. They can find the money to go to these, spend on concert and shit. I don't know where Chris Brown fits. I think he's right. If the top three things they buy is, hair care, beauty products and shit. And then BBLs, number two, and number three. Maybe Chris Brown is number two, and the BBL thing is number three and shit. Okay, we'll put it like that for the purposes of this motherfucking video. And today's subject is Kayla Nicole, who was called on stage. I don't know if that was worked out beforehand. I really don't know. I think it was and shit. That was way too choreographed though, but she goes up there on the stage and it's a giant ass stadium, man. Chris Brown's making more money being canceled than when he was mainstream and shit. Maybe he has to do a lot less shit, the babuic lifestyle, as Corey Holcomb would say. Maybe he has to do a lot less, so he's just making his money. And the dude has kept his head on a swivel. I am proud to say and shit, Chris Brown has swallowed rule number one of the 3 simple rules I give you guys out there, just for living your everyday life and shit as a straight black man in this Orwellian society. But today we're talking about Kayla Nicole, and more specifically, we're talking about her antics on stage at that concert. Okay, I guess I don't know. She was doing her own thing and shit. They act like it was some random thing, like you just saw her, and she was so fetching that he had to have her on the stage and whatnot. I don't know how these things work. Okay, I don't go to these fucking concerts. I have no reason to go to this concert, and if I did, I wouldn't go to a Chris Brown concert, not because he isn't talented and shit. He got an endorsement for Michael Jackson himself and shit as the man. Okay, and he's living up to that shit, even though he's canceled, post-canceling, for this situation back in the day when he was much younger. Okay, he's making more money. All right, it's not about that though. Not about Chris Brown, but he's a catalyst and shit for what I'm going to talk about, which is Kayla Nicole doing this shit. And this comes at a weird time because right before I saw the video of her on stage performing, an OnlyFans page style. Before I saw that, I saw this video of her, I guess on her podcast or some kind of podcast. She was sitting up very chaste and very, four corners, milk toast, explaining that she had hired a PR agent and that she was going to work towards being known for something more than just being a former girlfriend of that NFL player who was going to be married to Taylor Swift and shit, I guess. Yeah, she made this statement about how she was putting her foot forward and shit. Nobody cares, okay? No one cares what you're doing with your life, okay? I'm gonna explain that shit, all right? I'm gonna explain this shit so people can understand it and shit. How we see it, how actual men, heterosexual men, that share ethnicity with you in part or in whole, how we see it. Yeah. She makes these statements and then she goes to the concert and she's up there, man. She looked really good. Okay, she looked very sexual shit. Sexual marketplace value is probably an 8.5. Okay, and that's California standards. Okay, and that matters. All right, California standards matter. So she's an 8.5, right? In the sexual marketplace value, and she, based on her appearance and everything, but not so much her personality. Everything outside, everything on the exterior is an 8.5 and shit. Everything on the interior is about a 5, barely a 5. Okay, because she, although she has a degree, right? She has a law degree and everything. She has not made use of it and shit. She's simply used it as a prop to pursue bigger fish, I suppose, and whatnot. And what has she done? Have we seen her with anybody that's not, where she's not just a bust down, that she's not a pin cushion and shit, if you get my drift? No, we haven't and shit. All we seen her do was be salty and bitching about this fucking guy. And sometimes, be fair, only when asked, but she has to admit to herself fact that she put that information out there about him being a cheapskate during their relationship, while she was all in with all four limbs she was in and everything else, all her holes, her face, everything was on the table. This guy can have anything and shit from her. Okay, this white man. Okay, he's going to act like a sister and shit. And we don't care about none of that race loyalty. We never asked you black women to be race loyal about shit. So it's not about the fact that, she was with a white guy or nothing, okay? And then now she's flying solo and shit, but I had to comment because so many misandrous women are making this trying to make this some kind of victory lap for her that she was on the stage and was grinded on by Chris Brown of all people and shit. You know how many women Chris Brown sees that looks like Kayla Nicole and shit? Do you understand what she would mean to him and shit? Alright? Do you understand she would mean to him if he laid up with her and shit just one time? It wouldn't mean shit. It'd just be like going to Denny's and having an original Grand Slam and shit, if I had to use an analogy of value and worth on the sexual marketplace value for someone like Chris Brown is in the 1% in our specific ethnic community and shit, okay? The supposed black ethnic community of this here United States, 3Ks and said, Kayla Nicole, you ranked to be with a Chris Brown and shit, a post-canceled Chris Brown and shit, okay? The modern Chris Brown, not the original Chris Brown with all the mainstream market appeal and the good PR and everything before he made the mistake of being with a certain other female billionaire who may or not be burning down there. Alright? So, it's not a flex. Alright? Laying up with Chris Brown's not a flex. What it looks like you were doing up there is advertising your wares. Right? Advertising your sexual prowess and shit. Travis Kelce doesn't care that you was laid up with Chris Brown, and if he does, no one's ever gonna know. Okay? Maybe you can just tell yourself that, when you're at home with your rose plant because you're so arrogant that, even some 1%ers don't want to lay up with you and shit. And you keep company with Angel Reese and shit, from what I can see. And nobody wants no parts of that. Okay? You put out this negative information about your relationship and it backfired on you. Okay? And you guys get, if you were male, we would call this tough love for dumb N-words and shit. I do have that series out there. But, you're you and shit. I usually don't, talk to the sisters in this manner and shit. I usually point out some shit they do and then comment on it. It's a reaction. I have a lot of reaction videos on here. Okay? I would put different shit on there, but everybody seemed to run away when I put videos about the minority majority out, on here and shit. They run like bitches. So here we are. Shit, I'm on trash TV, and you did one hell of a show on that stage. I enjoy watching the show. I'm a mature gentleman, shit of quite some age. Okay, I enjoyed it. If I was younger and I was a 1%er, I would hit your DMs and shit because I want to do some pincushion practicing with you in the stream. Okay. You're right up my alley. But just as long as you don't talk or look at me directly and shit, we could get it on, man. So basically, Kings, her sexual marketplace value is extremely high, around an 8.5. But everything in between her ears and her personality and everything is lower than a 5. It's barely scraping a 5 and shit. It's only do that because she has completed a higher learning education. She is capable of completing and getting a degree. Right? She could have done so much, and we don't know. Maybe she does something along the lines of what she studied for in college, but it doesn't look like that. She looks like an average run-of-the-mill influencer who's looking to be flown out and shit. Okay? Right? If she lays up with Chris Brown and then she gets ghosted, she's gonna feel she's gonna feel really shitty. Okay? Alright, whatever guy. If somebody's coming at her right after she did this Chris Brown shit, it's because she did this Chris Brown shit. I feel like creeping in her DMs. Okay? I could have a pocket full of lint I can offer her. Okay? Now, I wouldn't do that. I'm a perfectionist and shit. So I don't put myself in a situation like that. And besides, her attitude would annoy the fuck out of me and shit. I just can't get past that. Okay? I can't be that shallow. I like to be that shallow. Now, I love the way she was popping her thought pocket and shit up there before a boy came there. I didn't like that shit where she put both of her legs adjacent to her ears. She folded her legs back. I had to, because it's social media, I had to obscure the important part of the dance routine. You know, this mating dance that we saw. There, all these women out there screaming, looking like wildebeests and shit. You know, I had to obscure that because, you know, I didn't want to get in trouble or get a strike on my channel and shit. But she's folded her legs back. She was sitting upright, and she took both of her legs and pulled them so far into her chest that the insides of her calves were facing her ears. While this dude was doing the shit, I think Chris Brown like, yeah, whatever. He's just performing, but she's advertising. All right, she's advertising, man. I heard it. It was like she virtual signal to my libido. I felt good and shit. Hey, thank you, Kelly Nicole and shit. You know, I guess I'm not fully black pill. I didn't mean to start laughing in the middle of this shit. This is fucking funny. It's too goddamn funny because she said, do I look like a 50-50 girl and shit? I say, yeah, to a motherfucking billionaire, you are a 50-50 girl. You're more than a 50. You're a 70-30 girl to the billionaire. Like a black billionaire that's like a handsome guy over 6 feet tall. Big lumber, as Brittany Renner likes to say and shit. And Grand Canyon pockets. You know, pockets full of cash, the Grand Canyon deep and shit, and the ability to go anywhere in the world and meet any woman that he wants to meet, when the women outnumber men on the planet. Yes, you're a 50-50 girl and shit. That's the best you can hope for and shit. And the only reason you would rank higher is because of your ethnicity in whole or important shit, because if you come down to the economic level of most black people and shit at the bottom of the barrel in this goddamn country, your rating goes up because you're an anomaly. You're what they call an exotic. Above that level, you're just standard. Okay, you run of the mill, but you know how to throw your thought pocket. You got a face I could look at. You know, a face. I don't want to get in. I'm gonna say some messed up shit. I'm gonna stop right here. But I hope I explained the sexual marketplace value as I see it and from what I've been hearing on this multiple platforms for the last almost 7 years. Shit, okay? So below the poverty line, you're a 10 out of 10. And your attitude, your entitlement, your princess syndrome and shit, your bitchy nature is discounted and shit when you're dealing with low-level guys that have no self-respect for themselves, but enough money to sit in front of you for even 5 minutes and shit. So maybe this is something that she could hold close to her chest, you know, between them thick ass legs and shit, as they're pressed against her chest while she get hit by a 1%er and then discard it to do the walk of shame. That may be something she keep close to where her heart should be, right? And maybe she could dip out and stop fucking around on social media. Just ignore the bullshit, okay? You know, you're gonna do shit like this, man. Just make an OnlyFans page. I'm not gonna buy the shit, okay? I'm gonna wait till somebody pirates it and then watch it and shit, okay? Okay, I'm not paying no money. Alright, I'm SYSBM and shit. That means saving yourself, black man. And one of those rules is you know, protect the bag. Alright, and what that means is not giving the bag to an entitled exotical who wouldn't spit on me if I was on fire, shit, okay? You come down to the hood and shit. You go to street level, you know, like, okay, I'm from Chicago. You go down by like I don't know, like 63rd and Ashland and shit. You'll be ranked 100 down there and shit. And it'll be hard for you to make it out without a security team. But you'll be the woman down. You'll be the dundada down there. All right, I'm done. I'm fucking around now. Okay, I'm graduating the fuckery. And I apologize to my audience and shit. But, you know, this is meant to be a light commentary. All right, a light commentary. A little titillation and shit. I ain't gonna even lie. Shit's for educational purposes, YouTube. Anywhere else I post this bullshit. Okay? No, that's it. That's Caitlin Nicole's bullshit. Thank you for the floor show with Chris Brown. That was awesome shit, man. My God. My God. Yeah, I need to throw it like that shit. I feel bad. I feel like you wasted your talents on Travis Kelce and shit, okay? And now, don't only post Travis Kelce because you made a big deal about everything and shit. Every time you hook up with somebody, that's gonna be a motherfucking rebound and shit. You will have to, I don't know, like you'll have to, you know, if old boy wasn't who he was, it'd get like an Elon Musk type motherfucker but he wouldn't even he wouldn't mess with you. That you have to get like a billion, like somebody with more money than Taylor Swift and shit to make yourself feel better. And last I heard, like somebody like Elon Musk or something, he was creeping with Amber Heard and shit while Johnny Depp was going through the shit. Okay, that's about it for you. Okay, they ain't get another football player or nothing, but it's just gonna be, you're just gonna be a rebound. You made yourself a rebound and shit, especially doing this bullshit and putting it out there. You know what I mean? Back in the old days, you see an exotical like this and you hook up with her or whatever, you have a relationship, a real relationship, you're a man of means, everything she wants. And then she doing this kind of shit behind closed doors, that's a lock. Okay? That's a lock. And and you women, y'all broke kayfabe and shit. And this is the result shit. Now that I can sit here and talk shit my non-select ass and call it on the money. I'm calling it down the middle. I understand you ladies more than you understand motherfucking self and shit. And I feel good about it. Because I'm going to continue the tradition of breaking kayfabe and shit, what you will call SYSBM, what these assholes used to call red pill and all these other acronyms and shit. I just call it emotional intelligence, common sense and shit. Alright? I want to thank you. I want to thank you for helping me explain, sexual politics and, how you dropped the bag and fumbled it. Just explain it, lifting the hood up, explain how you dropped the bag on your shit. Okay? And I want to say, hey, you should work something out with Chris Brown and do this show a bunch of times and shit, and even less close. Okay? Anyway, I'm out. I'm done. And, I ain't just human, just a guy. Okay? I'm not even going to do the 3 rules and shit, because, anybody's watching my motherfucking videos know those 3 rules and shit. I'll do it in the next fucking video.
The Black Patriarchy. A non-existent group of fictional black male power brokers not discredited, erroneously jailed or outright killed by the minority majority who look the other way as they work tirelessly to shame, oppress, and outright take out the altruistic black female populace of the honorable democratic United States of America. 3K's inset bitches. These evil wealthy members of the black patriarchy are the sole reason for all the ills of the black community, walking, talking, holding down jobs, and doing everything up to and including giving their very lives in service to their baby mamas and baby's motherfucking kids. Their motto that strikes fear into the hearts of black women everywhere: bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks.